Do you know how to turn those candles on?
Yeah.
Oh, turning it on. I was gonna light it up. Ding. The chime, the bell.
Please join me in lighting the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Let us quiet our minds and open our hearts at this time so we can receive our morning message. Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. My name is Kim Lewis. I am one of your board members. We come to religious community from many paths and with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you have come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. And if you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. So today we just have a couple of announcements. I wanted to mention, I know you have seen the eggs around under the chairs, leave them be. The children will be coming in after the service to collect the eggs. And then before you leave, Anne wanted me to let you know all the stuffed animals that you see in the back. If you care to take one home, one or two home, feel free to do so. You got a little glimpse of the music. That will be Music on Malthus at the end of the week on Saturday. And I just wanted to also ask if there's any new visitors here today. So if you are willing and able, I will ask anyone on this side, if they're new, if they would be willing to stand and give us your name and where you're from. Any visitors? Well, we know you. You can stand. You can stand if you'd like. Introduce yourself.
I'm Bill Jobe. Don't hold it against me.
Any visitors here in the center that would like to stand? Yes.
Ken Becker.
Jennifer Clyde, we're from New York City. New
Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else in the center? What about over here on my left?
I'm Mike Heilman. My first week was last week, so I'm still new, I think.
Yes.
And I look forward to getting involved with you all.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, those of you that are visiting, just so you know, after the service we have what we call the talk back. And after we get some snacks and maybe some coffee, we'd like to come back here to the sanctuary maybe around 11:15. And we try to be done by noon, and that's a time to get to know us, ask some questions, and talk about today's message. And without further ado, we have Clay Bernard.
Good morning. Happy Easter. I'm also on the board, and this is the stewardship, short stewardship message. We only have 2.5 weeks left, and about a third of you haven't had the opportunity to pledge. And this is a wonderful opportunity to do it, but this is an important component in building our budget for next year. Sharon, could you just raise your hand?
It's not going to be me today, it's going to be Linda and Patricia,
Oh,
just so you know.
great. Patricia, you're going to be back there too. Patricia will be in the Clara Barton room, and they can look up what you pledged last year and help you get the pledge card filled out. So I encourage you, after service, to go to the Clara Barton room and make your pledge. Thank you.
And now Pat Jobe with his opening words.
I have lots of opening words. You've already been alerted to the fact that the eggs are not for you. Please leave the eggs alone. And you've already been asked to make your pledge. I was also asked to ask you to make your pledge. I am a pledger to this congregation. I don't belong to this congregation. Although I adore Charlie Tyler, he is not my minister. I belong to the Spartanburg UU, and I pledge there, and I also support the Lake Norman UU, which employs me. And I've had explained to me that that's a very good idea. Emphatically. So please, we are right now 52 units short of what we did last year, and we're $30,000 in the hole. So if you have your checkbook with you this morning, just go ahead and write one for $30,000. That would be awesome. I also want to recognize Barbara's Easter bonnet with all the frills upon it. You'll be the grandest grandma in the Easter parade. Today is Easter, and Easter is always a weird holiday for Unitarian Universalists. We do not exclude Christians from our congregations, as we do not exclude Buddhists or Hindus or atheists or agnostics or Muslims. But on Easter morning, I think it's good for Unitarians to remember that an active community organizer angered the power structure so much that they killed him. And then the story goes that he even got over being dead. And that was very exciting for people who had hung out with him and people who had listened to him talk about food for hungry people and peace and justice. In his very first sermon, he quoted the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. He said, "No person shall be denied life, liberty, or property without due process of law." And they wanted to kill him that day too. It's a very powerful message, and it needs to be heard.
Microphone.
Microphone? Am I not using the microphone?
Well, you're using the microphone, you're just not talking as loud as you normally do.
Okay.
And we know why.
Does anybody else have any advice for me this morning? I'm very open. I'm open to being guided. Our opening words come from Eckhart Tolle, and they're hard to hear. Whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. And also from Thich Nhat Hanh. This, my dear, is the greatest challenge to being alive, to witness injustice and not allow it to consume your light.
Wow. Amen.
What's next? Please rise as you're able and join us in singing number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Today will be a
Thank you to all who brought donations to the various food pantries. If you have a donation, it goes on the table in the back. And now it's time to share from our abundance to support the work that this congregation does, both within and outside these walls. If you are a visitor, please feel free to let the basket pass. Your presence here is our gift. Thank you for your generosity.
Now is the time we share our joys and concerns. The purpose for sharing our joys is so that we can all rejoice with you, and if you have a concern, you can share that with us and we will help to ease your burden. We please ask that nobody make announcements or political comments. Thank you.
Take a stone.
Good morning again. I just want to share a joy. And my dear wife is guarding the back door, but it's directed to her. She gave me a gift for Christmas, a 5-day silent retreat. And I'm going on it next week in in Massachusetts. And I'm just tickled to death. Thank you, Wynette. She's watching the TV. Stone on my hair.
My name is Barbara Menchie, and I have a concern. I'm wearing this hat today. These flowers are my grandchildren. One day our children or our grandchildren may ask us, when it was all on the line, what did you do? And the only acceptable answer is, everything I could.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Arnie Baker. Several months ago, I volunteered to do a fundraiser in Sun City in collecting funds for food, and 100% of the money goes towards the food. There are no people paid. So our little community on the first year raised $1,000, of which Sun City is broken up into several neighborhoods, and the total was $78,000. Wow.
I'm Mary Lynn,
And I'm Ralph.
and we have a joy to share with you on Easter. We have a new great-granddaughter. So it's new birth, and she's beautiful, she's wonderful. She's 2 weeks old, and she's been in our life, it seems, forever. So we get to meet her. She's in Connecticut, and we go up on the 14th of May, and we get to hold her instead of just, yes, Amelia May. She's wonderful.
Hello, my name is Marcella. I know it's Easter, so I don't want to share a message that's going to bring people down, but it's such an important message. I found out a few weeks ago that a friend that I had known for close to 50 years had passed. And how I found out was on the internet. And the reason I found out that way is because I realized that I didn't have a number for somebody that I could contact if I hadn't heard from that person. So I am sharing this information with you. Don't find out that a friend of yours passed on the internet. It's the most awful thing that you can go through. So if you have a friend, make sure that you have a second number, that if something happens to them, that you can call that person to find out, especially if you haven't heard from them in a while. Or if you have your children, give your children a list of people to contact in the event something happens to you, so that your friends don't find out that you've passed on the internet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some of you know Charlotte Springer, and Charlotte and Jay came to this church for many, 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 many years. And Jay has since passed, but Charlotte's still coming to our church, and she's been coming here for a very long time. She just recently had her daughter come and visit her with her husband and 3 children, and they had a great time. They went to the beach, and as she loves to do, and when she was at the beach, they saw some flowers. She saw the flowers. She was looking at the flowers. She turned around and fell.
Oh.
Yes. And broke her hip.
Oh.
So, off to the hospital for surgery, and she had the surgery. And of course, just like Charlotte, she went through it like a trooper. And now she will be going to some rehab and trying to get back home to her place. But I know she would just love to hear from people. And I'm sure our care committee will make that happen.
Where is she?
And she's still at the Hilton Head Hospital at the moment. And I'm not sure which one she's going to be going to. So keep in touch.
Where's the address?
Where should we send cards?
It's in our directory.
Oh,
Yeah.
to her house. Oh,
Yeah, to her house. So when she gets home, she's flooded with love.
okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Linda, and I have to share my joy. This congregation, you've been wonderful. You have been absolutely wonderful to me over the past few months, and since my husband passed, and I just can't say enough for you. This is just such a wonderful, wonderful place to be, and I am so glad that I found this place 8 years ago. So thank you very much for that.
I have a complaint. And you people can help get rid of it. We have 2 members of the board, and now we got Pat Jobe standing up there asking you to please pledge. You're gonna do it, you know you're gonna do it. So if you do it now, you can have an egg. And you don't have to listen to all these people asking you to do it.
Or telling you you can't have an egg.
I will place 2 stones in the basket for all the joys and concerns that remain in your heart. I will also place 1 stone in the large vessel to commemorate all the children who have been killed by gun violence. Sorry, folks. Rookie mistake. Thank you. Sorry, didn't read far enough ahead. We have an affirmation number 499 in your booklet, in your hymnal. And I have felt a presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thoughts, a sense sublime of something far whose dwelling is the light of setting suns, and the round ocean and the living air, a motion and spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things.
A few days ago, I attended a gathering of UUs who were desperate. And you're going to hear more about their desperation later on, but what became clear to me as I was listening to these folks talk is they felt a profound sense of aloneness. Now, you all have said these words. What can we do? How do we react? And that was sort of the theme of this gathering. What can we do? How do we react? And it occurred to me that probably the most disempowering energy in the room was that we are alone. That each of us walks that lonesome valley. And so I wrote this song. We have all been just one person. We have all stood alone so many times, till others came and stood with us, and our stars started to shine. When Dr. King walked to Montgomery, leaving Selma's pain far behind, he walked alone till others walked beside him, and their stars started to shine. They carried banners called Old Glory, and signs that said, I am a man. And as their stars started shining and their hearts started climbing, the whole world came to understand. When Gandhi walked to the ocean, he was walking all alone, till thousands walked beside him, and all their stars shone. Their actions cried for Indian freedom, They changed that old and fierce empire. They were shining stars for independence. They built a burning freedom fire. And we have all been just one person. We've stood alone so many times, till others came and stood there with us, and our stars started to shine. The work of writing a sermon, rewriting a sermon, delivering a sermon for me is the result of 59 years. 59 years I've been reading books, I've been talking to people, I've been listening to people. The reckless voices that ramble around in my head. You'd think with all that these sermons would be better. Well, here's the really interesting response to that thought. I want them to be better. I want to sail on angel wings. I want to light up your hearts and your minds and fill you with a passion to go out from this sacred and wonderful place right here, right now, and move the needle. And we think the needle is moving, don't we? I mean, after yesterday, after protests that Bill and I attended in Charleston and on Hilton Head and then another one in Bluffton, and all over this country, we felt the needle moving. I want to move the needle away from hunger toward full bellies and smiling faces around meals served by people who love each other. I want to move the needle away from Donald Trump and Elon Musk and toward a world order more like the one we had last January 19th. I want to deliver brilliant and beautiful sermons, especially this one. This one that will echo the hearts and souls of people like Ann Harrison and Charlie Tyler and Dick Hood and Neil Jones and whatever other guest speakers may share our common dreams of goodness and mercy that might follow us all the days of our lives. It is a brash and unrealistic and vain and full of tomfoolery, but I'm going to try anyway. I'm 71 years old now and living under the worst of American dictatorship, so I don't figure I've got a lot to lose.
Yeah, right.
And my beloved brother, Bill Jobe, is with me here today, and he will remember that our daddy used to say, shoot for the moon, and you might hit the top of the barn. But he said, if you shoot for the top of the barn, you might blow your toe off. It is my intention today to shoot for the moon. You can help me. You can help me right now by opening your hearts. Opening your hearts and your imagination. I'm going to tell a couple of stories. I'm going to paint a couple of pictures. And I ask you to open your hearts that this just might work. I'm shooting for the moon and maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll inspire you. Maybe it'll captivate you and energize you for the hard work ahead. I had hoped to embody such a man, such a storyteller, such a light of truth and love and kindness and kinship that you could barely contain your enthusiasm and joy. But since such a man is not available today, I'm all you've got. I want to talk today about two men who cannot run a mile. They can't run a mile. They're not able to run a mile. In part because I can't run a mile. I can run 100 yards up the hill behind my house with my dogs. I can run around my house, but my lower body strength is pretty pitiful. I can walk a mile, but my legs hurt and my lower back is angry enough with me to beg me to sit down. Imagine with me these two men who cannot run a mile. And somehow we can see them training, chugging along the side of the road, having a goal of someday running a mile. The first man is Louis. He runs just to the left of our imagination. He chugs along feeling a little discouraged that he cannot yet run a mile. He gets a few hundred yards under his feet and he's done, and he sits on a bench by the sidewalk and he breathes hard and he thinks the most amazing thoughts. Y'all ready to think along with Louis?
Yes.
Yes.
His first thought is, nobody is going to steal my joy. Nobody is going to steal my joy. He remembers other times in his life when he could not do something he wanted to do. He remembers the girl in high school as he watched her come to her locker at 5th period. Every day as he sat in his class, he would look through the doorway and see her out there at her locker. He remembers loving her the way every lovesick teenage boy loves some girl and longs to have her look into his eyes and say, "I love you too, baby." Didn't happen. But he was determined nobody was going to steal his joy. He was going to be joyful anyway. As he moved through other losses and dreams deferred in his long and twisted life, he said, I will allow joy to come no matter what. Nobody is going to steal my joy. By the time he sat on that bench, heaving and panting, he'd been fired from 4 jobs. He'd gone to work in business 3 times and he'd lived through 2 divorces. But nobody was going to steal his joy. And then he remembered that somebody had told him that everybody has a light within, that all of life is full of light. And that person who told him that had said, "Let your light shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine." So he was on that bench and he got to feeling pretty good. He regained his breath and his heart began to slow down a little from running his half mile. He remembered that everybody has a light shining. If only we look for it. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Look for it in himself and look for it in other people. And he determined nobody was going to snuff out his light. Nobody was going to keep his light from shining, and nobody was going to keep him from looking for other people's light in their eyes, in their smiles, in their hearts. And finally, somehow he noticed the grass was still growing and the sun was still shining and there was a little breeze in the trees, and he fell in love with all of it. He fell in love with everything. He remembered how his heart would fly out of his chest back in 5th period when that girl was out there at the locker. And he let his heart fly out over everything. He let his heart fly out over the Spanish moss out that window. And he let his heart fly out over whatever that plant is right there. And his heart just flew and flew. He was in love with everything. In fact, he felt as though he no longer existed as a separate human being. He became one with everything. Now, on the right side of our imagination is a guy named Ralph. You get it? Ralph and Louie. And Ralph is trying his best to run a mile. He's chugging along. He wants to run a mile. But truth be told, he can barely walk a mile. And when he tries, his legs ache and his back hurts and it begs him to sit down. Please sit down. And now he's made it to another bench on another side of another sidewalk, and he remembers the girl he loved in high school and how she married another guy. And he turned out to be a millionaire. The dirty dog. And he grinds his teeth to remember the times that he was fired from 4 jobs, went broke in business 3 times, and lived through 2 divorces. He said, how come other people get all the breaks? How come I'm such a bumbling idiot? Why? Full of anger and sadness and worry and anxiety, he regains his breath, stops heaving and panting, and feels his heart slow down enough to get him back up and chugging off in the dim hope of someday running a mile. Now, y'all know I'm a preacher, so I'm fixing to start preaching. I'm also going to be a tad bit realistic. I always hate it when people tell me to be realistic. But I'm going to try to be a little bit realistic for the purposes of what I hope to accomplish right quick. Now, I would never tell you to ignore the fact that you may be angry or anxious or frustrated. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and be whatever you need to be emotionally, because emotions are real. And then get over it as quick as you can. And get back to loving everything. Do not be ruled by anger, fear, anxiety, and frustration. Let them come and let them go. As soon as you possibly can, get back to feeling joy and seeing that light and loving everything. Be proactive. Get on top of your fuel cells and use them for a determination to go where needed and do what needs to be done and be who you came here to be. You all remember just a few minutes ago, Barbara read that little card. What will you tell your children and your grandchildren that you did when things were really bad? When somebody hadn't read the 14th Amendment to the Constitution? What did you do? Everything I possibly could. Fall in love. Fall in love with the jobs we have to do. We might as well love them. We got to do them. Fall in love with the grass and the trees and the breeze and even your own breath. And Lord, let your breath love you. The Buddhists tell us we will be asked questions when the party's over. How much did you love? How well did you love? How much love did you give to the grass and the trees and the stars and the sky and the ocean breaking on the beach? We cannot love the worst of our politics and the news. Our government has been taken over by raving maniacs. They eat their young and let the blood run down their chins. They're god-awful. Their ways are impossible to love. But their basic humanity, they are human beings. We are all human beings. And we can love those sad little children they used to be when they were taught those awful lessons about never losing, never admitting defeat, always denying everything so that you can say you never did anything wrong. They deny the lights that shine within them, and they go to practice little acts of domination that they think will give them the sense of power that they lost when they were 3 and 4 and 5 years old. They are deluded and insane, and they need strong antipsychotic drugs. But we cannot play by their rules, and we cannot worship their false gods. We must be the people of joy and light and love, even as we protest, even as we write letters, even as we make those phone calls to the offices of our members of Congress. We must be the people of joy and light and love as we support the American Civil Liberties Union, founded by a Unitarian named Roger Baldwin. Roger Baldwin was asked one time if he paid attention when he was a young Unitarian attending church. He said, yes, sometimes I even listen to the minister. And we must continue to support Planned Parenthood, the National Immigration Law Center, and locally, Low Country Immigration Coalition, Christ Lutheran Church, in their work with the immigrants. Say it again. Yes, them too. Seriously, talk to George Canick. George, where are you? You took your ears off. If you don't know George, he's got the blue ears. He's going to put them back on so you can find him after the service. Talk to George. Ask him about these organizations. Ask him about the people doing the work. I'm going to close with a special thank you to the Reverend Ed Kozak. He's a retired Unity minister from Charleston. We're longtime friends and have been there for each other through hard times. I'm particularly grateful to him because he talked of how deeply we need to accept who we are. Deeply, deeply accept who we are, and how firmly we hold to our convictions without losing our minds. We cannot abandon who we are to anger, even if that anger is caused by other people. Even if the news makes us angry, we cannot be ruled by it. We can feel it and then move back to joy and love and light. What Ed said to me was, I have seen the pain in your face, and I have seen the pain in other people's faces. And I do not deny that these are painful times, but we cannot be ruled by our pain. Our government temporarily feels as though it does not belong to us. It feels as though we have, in a few short weeks, lost so much of our capacity to care for each other through government services. This is truly, truly painful, and we will resist. But we will use our joy, our light, and our love to overcome. And we shall overcome.
So I don't know if you remember this, Pat, but multiple years ago, you sent me a video of a song, and you said, hey, can you guys do this song? And we never got to it. I don't know if, I don't know what happened. We never got to the song. So this showed up on YouTube recently,
And I said, you know what? We never did this song. Pat's coming. This will be a perfect Easter song. And it will actually be very good for the sermon that you're going to be preaching, even though I had no idea. It'll be very good. And we also now have a young drummer here who is going to be able to add a little oomph to the song. So, this one's for you.
Thanks, buddy.
Hang on, I'm tangled here. Everybody ready? Six is on too, Brian?
Yes.
Be humble, to be kind. It is a giving of the peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend. To give in such a way that has no end. We are love. We are one. We are how we treat each other. What it is that you see, a world that's filled with endless possibilities, and heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other.
Thank you guys, that was awesome. I'd like to thank our visitors today, Bill, Mike, Ken, and Jennifer. And thank you to everyone who has made today's service absolutely wonderful. And thank you to Linda Grady for the beautiful new flower arrangements. And Pat, as always, you do light up our lives more than you know, and yes, the needle is moving. Thank you. And you have closing words?
before I offer closing words, I would ask that we simply take a breath, hold in our hearts Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who is among as many as 260 Venezuelans who are being held in a prison in El Salvador. We just learned a few days ago that also Julio Perez is there. Julio reported to the Charlotte ICE office, which he does on a regular basis, to let ICE know where he is. He is undocumented, but apparently has gotten into some kind of program with ICE where he checks in. And he was in the process of checking in. He was in the process of doing so in the presence of his wife and his 4-year-old daughter. ICE noticed that he had 2 tattoos that made them think he might be part of the gang that is now incarcerated in El Salvador. And they took him away. And they put him on that airplane. An airplane that a federal judge had ordered to be turned around and was not turned around. And now the Attorney General of the United States says we have no way to regain custody of those prisoners. In other words, the people who put them in prison cannot now get them out, according to Pam Bondi. May God have mercy on her soul. Our closing words come from Ralph Waldo Emerson, one of our patron saints, if we had any. Emerson said, 2 men look out through prison bars. One sees mud and the other sees stars. And also from the great Kentucky poet Wendell Berry, who wrote, expect the end of the world. Laughing is immeasurable. Be joyful even though you have considered all the facts. Practice resurrection.
If you're willing and able, please stand and join me in extinguishing the chalice. The words are in your order of service. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of unity, and the fire of commitment, until we are together again.
Thank you.